Tem-Purr-A. This is a completely abstract game, and since it is abstract, they could put whatever they wanted on the cards, and the theme that they chose was cats and sushi. And I like cats, and I like sushi, so that was already interesting to me. The idea is that allegedly you are cats, I guess, that are trying to eat as much sushi as possible without bursting, without getting an indigestion. In essence, it is a game that seems to have elements from Uno, not my favorite game, and Exploding Kittens, not my favorite game either. In Exploding Kittens, the similarities are not so much in the theme, although, well, you still have felines, but in the fact that you're trying to avoid drawing bad cards. There will be a deck of cards here. Each player receives a hand of cards. Some cards have special actions, some cards have numbers, and the illustration on the card is completely unrelated to the game. Only the numbers and the actions matter. So each player will have a hand of cards, and there will be a card to start the game, and also there will be an indigestion card, only one at the beginning, shuffled somewhere in the deck after everybody receives their initial hand. So then players take turns, alternate taking turns, and when it is your turn, you can do one of four things. In general, what you're trying to do is to avoid drawing cards from the deck, because alas, that's where the indigestion card is. What you can do is, you can play a card that matches the value of the card is already on the table. There's a 2 there. Look at how lucky, I have a 2. So done, my turn is over. Hooray! Woohoo! If I don't have that card, I don't want to play one, I can play 2 cards with any other numerical value. So if that is the case, I don't want to play a 2, but I had 2 7, so I discard these cards. I discard the previous deck. I discard one of the 2 that I used to make the pair, and the remaining one goes on the table to start a new deck. And then next player goes, oh darn, I don't have 2 cards. Yes, I have 2 cards, so I could play these 2 to change the value of the current stack to 4 instead of 7. Or the third thing you can do is to play an action card, in which case you simply resolve the action indicated by the icon, and these are fairly standard actions, again reminiscent a little bit of Uno. An action is that you can choose the next player that goes. Another one is you can change the direction in which the game is going, and you have a token here to keep track of the direction in which players are playing. Here, another one, you add the dish to be eaten to the total of dishes that are on the table there. So these are the 3 things that you want to do. Play action cards, match the number, or play a pair to replace the number. But alas, what happens if you're not able to do any of those things? Then you have to draw cards on the deck. The cards that you draw, the total is equal to the value that you have here in the stack. Right now the value, there's only a card that is 7. The value is 7. If that was the stack, if the stack was 2 4s, then the value is 8. You can get pretty high. I may have to draw 14 cards. And then you simply draw that maximum amount of cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, 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 blah. And you show them, you reveal them, revealing that you do not have the indigestion card. And if you do, well then, that round is over. You get an indigestion token. Players retain their hands of cards. The discard pile is shuffled back into the main deck, and you continue like that. If there wasn't an indigestion card, then now you have a large hand of cards that goes in your hand. The game continues until a player has taken 3 indigestion tokens. At that point, the game is over, and the player with the fewest indigestion tokens is the winner of the game. In case that there is a tie, then the player with the most cards in their hand wins the game. Another important thing actually is that at the end of a round, after a player has taken the indigestion token, when the deck is set again, is shuffled again, the player that got an indigestion token can choose to add another card. There can be up to 6 indigestion cards in the deck, which makes the deck totally murderous and also makes the game go much faster. You may expect the first round to last quite a bit, especially if the indigestion card just so happened to be shuffled towards the bottom, but then things can start moving quite fast. And it's a very super simple game, but I played it with children and they really enjoyed it. The children that went from age of 5, 6 and 7, they really enjoyed it. And they really enjoyed, even when it's time to draw cards. What we did, of course, wasn't just to count the cards, 1, 2, 3, da, 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 give them to the player, and the player looks to them, okay, I'm good. That's boring. Of course, what we did was to flip them face up one by one as the entire group was counting, and that, whoa, 3, oh my gosh, 5 more, 4 more, oh gosh, we're almost there. It's a little trick that I did to kind of like do a little bit of structure to that element, but it really worked. The kids loved it. I would almost say they were looking forward to that moment. Even when they were the ones that were going to draw, it was just an exciting moment. And all players they got so exciting that all players were rooting for the drawing players, even though, ludically speaking, of course, that the opposite should be true, that they should hope that the opponent gets this. So it's one of those games, a simple social game. I played it with kids. I do not know that I need to play with adults, but as a kids game, it really worked because it's super simple. The rules are so simple that yes, a 5, a 6, a 7-year-old can definitely play it. There can be some groaning, oh gosh, I got the indigestion token. But if you keep it fun, if you keep it light, it's very enjoyable. I mean, the kids really, I played it with the kids, with my daughters, and with friends of ours around their age, and they all enjoyed it. Again, there was laughter going around the table, some groaning here, there, but not much. A lot of like, whoa, crazy moments, cheering when the active player doesn't get the indigestion token, although again, that makes no sense in terms of gameplay. But it shows you that playing games is not just about interacting with the design, it is about interacting with other people through the medium of the design. And this is a game that, as simple as is, really creates a fun, light social interaction. As for the game itself, it is push your luck. There is a little bit of strategy, the main one being, of course, if you have a choice at all, then you can choose maybe to draw cards now, which in the theme it means to eat cards from here. Then there is a small stack here. I may choose to get cards now that the stack is not too big. So I'm gonna get a bunch, but not like a ton. That also may give me some options later, flexibility to try to avoid being the one that draws cards later in the game when the stack may be bigger. And that really is pretty much the key strategy. If I have a chance to eat now or not to eat now, I can choose to eat now and get a certain amount of risk, or wait until later. I don't risk anything now, but if then things go too long, then I may be stuck getting a lot more cards later. It's about, you know, should I get no cards now and maybe a ton later, or some cards now and hope that I don't get indigestion cards. It's very simple, it's very basic. The advantage, again, being that even kids can understand it. I don't see myself playing this game with adults during game night. Other groups that play with more casual people may do so, may elect to do so, maybe as a little warm-up game or at the end of a game night. It's super simple, super light, and again, it's much more of a social game. I would almost say it's almost a social activity, much more than a game per se, because the strategy is so light that it's not enough, it would not be enough for me to make the game interesting. But actually playing the game, although the strategy is so simple, it's so basic, actually playing the game turned out to be an interesting and fun social experience. So when I'm playing with kids, when my daughters have friends over for play date, well, Tem-Purr-A may just be one of the games that we show to our friends, and I think that when we do so, chances are that the kids will have fun, like they have had fun playing the game so far.